What is up, guys? Coach Chris here with another new video for RockRep Fitness, hashtag Team RockRep. Hope you guys are doing well. Back to a little bit more fitness-y related video this week. I hope you all enjoyed my Jalen Hurts video last week. If not, if you didn't see it, go check it out. I'll put it in the description box below. But yeah, this week we're talking about building a symmetrical and proportional physique. And for those of you who don't speak bodybuilder, what I'm talking about is building a physique that you would consider an overall complete package. So having good muscle size, having good proportions from side to side, meaning your left biceps not gigantic compared to your right, or whatever the case may be. That's what we're talking about in this video. I've identified 3 helpful practical tips that you can implement today that will help you start getting on that right path. It might help you identify some flaws in your current training that maybe you can address on your own. Starting off with tip number 1, identifying the weak points in your physique. Now, this one does take a little bit of the pride pill. You have to swallow it, get rid of it. You have to identify the weak points in your physique. That way you can bring them up. You'll never have a symmetrical and proportional physique or an overall complete package physique if you have weak points. Now, you can make the argument, well, Chris, there's always going to be weak points in your physique or things that could be improved on. Now, I agree with that. There always are things that can be improved, whether it be your tiny calves, if you're like me, or whatever. There's always things that can be improved, but that doesn't mean that things have to always be out of whack proportion, because that's simply not true. And so yeah, take the time, identify your weak points, and once you've identified them, act appropriately. So for me, use a real life example. I struggle with arms. My arms, I have a great peak on my biceps. I just have not been able to develop the thickness that I want. So what did I do starting a few months ago? I increased the frequency to training them 2 to 3 times a week. And you know what? I've seen incredible results and progress from that. And not saying that you have to do that for every muscle group that's a weak point, but it might be smart, especially if something you feel is really, really far behind. Maybe take some extra time, take extra sets away from your strongest muscle group, give them to your weakest, do it for a few months, see the progress, and then move on. Tip number 2, have a fair mixture. Actually, before I say it, this is a personal preference. This is a coaching preference based on experience that I've had with my own training and my clients and the results that they've been able to see. But have a fair mixture of heavy lifts and high volume lifts in your program at any given time. What I mean by this, an ideal way to lay this out would be having a heavy compound. So let's just talk about chest for a second. It's an easy one, right? Having a heavy bench press, it could be anywhere between 2 and 8 reps. It's a little bit higher intensity, higher load. And then on the rest of your exercises, you might be doing 2 sets of 15 or 20 or 3 sets of 12, whatever, a little bit higher volume, less weight. And what I found this approach to produce is 2 things. 1, it produces a dense muscle from the heavy lifting. And 2, it produces a more striated muscle. So these are 2 things, especially for my physique athletes watching this, 2 things that will play to your advantage is having a dense and striated muscle, especially when you diet down. You don't want to feel like you've lost all of your muscle. And guess what? The more dense your muscle is before you diet, the more dense it's going to look after you diet. Who would have thought that? So that's why I say it's a general good approach. Even if you're not a physique athlete, it's a good approach if you're wanting to have an overall good-looking and aesthetic physique. It's a good approach to have. Again, having a heavy lift incorporated in almost every workout and mix in high volume where appropriate as you can handle it. You don't want to go too far and overtrain, but listen to your body and you will be peachy. All right, tip number 3. Now, this one I'm going to be talking about side-to-side muscular symmetry. So this just means if you were to cut yourself in half, how do the muscles on your left and right look compared to one another? And so here, another really practical tip that you can implement starting today in your own training is, if this is a problem that you notice, especially looking at your own physique, or maybe you have a coach or somebody that has an eye for these sort of things, look at you and say, hey, your left biceps is bigger than your right, whatever. You might be able to pick up on that yourself. If so, great. But once you identify this, what you should start implementing is what I would call an isolated movement. So what I mean by that is isolating side by side An example would be bicep curls. Maybe if you notice that one of your biceps is bigger than the other, instead of doing both bicep curls at the same time, perform your left arm, all of your reps, your right arm, all of your reps. And you'll find what this will do is it's going to produce a greater mind to muscle connection. So especially if you have a muscle group that's lagging, that mind to muscle connection is obviously going to help with growth. And it's also going to help with strength, not to mention. But what you'll find is that over time, if you are doing something, we'll use the bicep curl example again, you might notice that if your right bicep's bigger, that whenever you're doing a curl, a barbell or easy bar curl, you might notice that your right side comes up before your left and your right arm kind of dominates the movement and helps you move the weight. The good thing about isolated movements from a side to side perspective is that you completely eliminate that from the equation. You allow your weak muscle to do all of the work and not have any help from the dominant side. So I think that's a really practical thing to implement. If you're not doing isolated movements already, I really, really, really recommend it. Yeah, so that's it for this one. Quick plug though, if any of you guys follow us on Facebook, you've seen the video that we've put out talking about 2019 New Year's fitness goals and how RockRep's goal is to bust up the statistics of the fact that 70% of people give up on their health and fitness goals before March, pretty much. So I read that and I was appalled. So I've made it a personal goal of our brand, our coaching style, to any client that we get January 1, we're seeing them way past March when most people, 70% of people are failing. We're going to push them past that. So, and share that message with your friends, your coworkers, family, whoever. We definitely are going to be doing some great things in 2019, and I couldn't be more excited about it. Also working on some content, some more ebooks for all of you that gave me good feedback on the shredding ebook that I did last summer. Working on 2 new ones, which I'll release more info on that later. But if you have questions on the content I presented today, or even content from weeks past, feel free to drop them in the comments. You can email me at rockrepfit@gmail.com. You can visit my website, www.rockrepfit.com. Or you can hit me up on social media. I don't really care. I'm more than happy to talk to you guys. Next week, I don't really know what I'm talking about. It's on the calendar that's behind me, but I'm not going to break eye contact because that's disrespectful, and that's not what I'm about. So I can't wait to see you guys next week. If you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up. Share it on your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't care. Text it to your mom. Share it around. It's all greatly appreciated from the bottom of my heart. It helps so much when you guys do those things. Subscribe, turn on notifications. I'll see you all here next Monday. Until then, stay healthy and God bless.